It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio with us today. Al Cornell is back with Verde Search and Rescue. Welcome back, Al.
Thank you.
We have Al come in the spring, talk summer safety hiking. Here we are in the fall, and you're here to talk winter safety.
Cold weather protection.
Cold weather protection. Yeah. So before we jump into the cold weather, let's go back to summer and have you kind of talk about your experiences this summer with Search and Rescue. Because each year I ask you this to find out, are we making improvements out there with our own abilities in the wild?
Well, I really think we are. It's a slow evolution among the hiking community, but we're seeing just literally every day hundreds, maybe up to even 1,000 people or more a day going up to Devil's Bridge, and they all are finding their way up there, finding their way out. We still have an occasional search because of that. We had two ladies recently go up there. Came out and turned the wrong way and spent the night on the Volte Arch Trail before they were rescued the next morning. Mm-hmm. And we had a man hike in from the Jordan Trailhead in Sedona, hiking over toward Soldiers Pass and Brins Mesa area, was going to go to Devil's Bridge and then go back to his car. He and his wife were from Texas. And this is, by the way, it's a good point. Someone needs to know where you are. This is a case where the lady dropped him off in the morning, came back at 4 in the afternoon. He didn't show up. Just about sunset, she called 911. Coconino County responded because it was right on the border of the two counties, and then we responded, searched for him that night, and he was found the next day on the Volte Arch Trail. He'd gone to Devil's Bridge, came back, missed the trail, coming back to his car, walked all the way to the Volte Arch Trailhead, started into that trail, and it was hot. It was hot, so he was suffering some heat exhaustion. But his wife knew he's not back, and that was very helpful. If he'd hiked in there on his own and didn't come back to his car, well, we would not have known to search for him. Sure. So
it'd probably be a while before anybody even realized that his car wasn't supposed to be there.
We had another case. A car was in the Boynton Canyon parking lot for about 2 weeks. Oh. And he disappeared in July of last year, and we finally recovered his remains around the 30th of June this year. Oh, wow. Up in a side canyon in Long Canyon area. Gone up there by himself, and yeah, and no one knew he was there. No one knew he was up there hiking until they found his vehicle a couple weeks later. Mm-hmm. His family started asking about him, and they said they did a search of all the trailheads and parking lots. But I would say the 911 calls are a big help, and people letting someone else know what they're doing. That's really important. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, you still, even with all of that, can get trapped out overnight. And so it's nice to have a few items with you in your pack.
You talked about those two ladies. I believe they were North Carolina, and he went out there and found their car sitting there. The gals that were at Devil's Bridge and then took the wrong turn. Right. The weather was pretty bad at that point. I mean, that was this month, October, mm-hmm. I think, and they had to spend the night out there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they did okay. It wasn't... how did they survive the night? Because, I mean, it got cold. It's been getting cold at night.
Mm-hmm. No, they were able to... I don't know if they started a fire or not, but they had enough with them, clothing-wise, to keep them warm. Okay. And so, yeah. So that turned out all right, but the problem there is people navigating or walking someplace they should be navigating. And they don't carry a map or a compass or a GPS. And those are the ones that are the ones getting lost. If that gentleman from Texas had a GPS, he'd have just followed his backtrack right back to the car. Mm-hmm. Or he would have seen as he's walking down the road the Brins Mesa Trail entrance. He walked right past it and missed it. Mm. And there is a sign there, but it's kind of set back from the road. And he walked the equivalent of probably 2.5 miles to the Volte Arch Trailhead.
Oh, wow.
You'd think his mind would have said, wait, I'm walking too far, but that didn't occur. So,
do you think at that stage maybe he was a little worried about, am I lost or not lost, or just kind of enjoying the area and just not even realizing?
Could have been that, or he could have been a little bit of heat exhaustion too. It was very hot that day.
Okay.
Really hot.
Okay.
And in fact, he told his wife, I'm going to go to that road that goes to Devil's Bridge, and then I'll decide then whether to walk back or go to the bridge and then come back. And at that point he said, well, I feel all right, I'll walk to the bridge. It was a hot day. So he went to Devil's Bridge and then came back, and he missed the trail back. And heat exhaustion can play a role in that.
Is it safe to say that things can change on you in a heartbeat out there? Whether it's spring, summer, winter, or fall?
Yeah. It's ironic, but mainly in the summer. You can. We've had a couple times going out there getting people because of heavy rain. They go out there and it's not bad, looks pretty nice, and an hour later this huge thunderstorm hits. It was at Bryn's Mesa again. A couple went on a hike there, left their car in the Soldier Pass parking lot. They went in for a couple miles, and then they got hit with this huge torrential rain, and they thought they were going to get swept away in flood, and called 911. We sent some people in and got them and walked them out, but they were just scared to death because, I mean, it went from a nice afternoon to just dark, heavy clouds and heavy rain.
That's how we see it, the monsoon.
So yes, more apt to happen in the summer than the winter here. The winter here, you see the cold coming usually.
Yeah, maybe we're more prone in the wintertime too, because it is just a colder season. You start seeing the bad weather move in, it makes you kind of want to move. But in the summer, it's nice out, you know, and you don't want to ruin your day.
The problem with the winter is people being not prepared in case they get trapped out. They get ambushed, in other words. And I was just thinking, I'm driving over here today, in my 23 years in search and rescue, it's difficult to remember somebody that I've rescued in the winter from Minnesota and Wisconsin, places like that, because it is their lifestyle to be dressed properly. They dress their underclothing with polyester and stuff like that, and they wear mittens, and they have a scarf and a woolly cap and all of that. And so what worries me are the people from California and the Southwest that go on these hikes. It's 70 degrees, 75, nice day, and then they can't get back, or they get off the trail and can't find it again. And they're just not prepared to be out there overnight. And the night could go down to 30, 35. Most hypothermia deaths occur between 40 and 50.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So it's the death of the unprepared.
Okay.
They're not dressed properly. And that's the first step. And then I mentioned to you the triad of winter survival.
Should we take a break and come back and talk about the triad of winter survival? Okay.
All right.
Because that's what we're here today. We want to get people prepared to start thinking about the winter months and if you're going to be going hiking. So Al Cornell, he's a volunteer with the Verde Search and Rescue, is in studio today. This is Countywide. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
So I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I groomed the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius, and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
Sometimes, one moment changes everything. One song, one game, one adventure, one mission. For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. You can transform lives, one wish at a time. Support Make-A-Wish and help grant more life-changing wishes. Learn more at wish.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Al Cornell's in studio today. We're talking about winter safety and hiking and the proper clothes you should have with you. He's got stuff on the desk, on the counter here too, of things you can keep in your pack, just in case you did get lost. Then at least it might eliminate some of that panic. But you mentioned just before the break 3 legs of survival. So 3 legs of survival. Yeah. Number one,
clothing.
Clothing.
If you have the proper clothing on, you've made a great step toward your survival, regardless of your situation. And proper clothing to me is a couple lightweight shirts, polyester, very good. These are 2 polyester shirts. One will fit your body pretty tightly. We call it the wicking layer. But really what it is thermal retention. Keeps the body, keeps the heat in between this layer and your body.
Okay.
A little bit of thermal reflection, but thermal retention. And then you wear a looser shirt, really loose, and I call this thermal isolation. It's loose and it's got air pockets, and what heat comes out of the first layer gets into these air pockets, and it's kind of, well, you're wearing air pockets of warm air. And this traps those pockets. So 2 layers like that are just wonderful. And then this is a polyester shirt. It's a very comfortable shirt, and that gives me 3 layers of retention on a real cold day. And then you want to have a layer on the outside in case a windbreaker or something to keep the moisture off you if it starts to rain, that kind of thing. Can be Gore-Tex. If it's not, Gore-Tex is breathable. If it's not Gore-Tex, you may have to open it up once in a while to air it out. And then when you're walking, keep the layers open so that you're not sweating inside.
Okay.
And in fact, the rule I use is to feel cool. I want to walk when I'm feeling cool. Then I know I have no visible moisture. That's kind of hard to avoid sometimes on a search when you're moving fast, maybe uphill on Bell Rock or something. But if you do have visible moisture, the shirts will help protect you. Help trap the heat anyway.
And these layers can all come off and be put into a bag, and then as you need them, you can put them back on, and if you don't need them, you can take them off, and vice versa. But it's better to have all of them with you just in case you get stuck out there.
And most of us carry these kind of layers in our packs in the fall, winter, and spring, because we never know when we are going to start a search at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and be out there that night. So it's good to have the layers to be able to put on. And I've been in a situation where we have found the subjects and was told by the incident commander, don't bring them out now. It's too dangerous in the dark. Set up a camp and bring them out when we call you in the morning. And so you have these layers to put on, and then you have the other things I'll talk about also. But a very key thing in your pack is a woolly cap and a scarf.
Why? Why is that so important?
Because you lose 50% of your body heat from your neck and head at a temperature of 30, 35, 40 degrees. If that temperature goes down to 5, you'll lose 75% of your body heat right in here. And this is just a wonderful way to stay alive. Wonderful way.
And Alison, if you've got a really big head, just to have a bigger hat, and you'll be covered. So I've got to get by.
And then I really love mittens and
mittens.
Cold weather.
See now, you bring up mittens, and as a kid from Minnesota, mittens. I didn't like wearing those because you got teased for wearing mittens. But you brought up a really good point before the show started. Tell us about mittens.
They just
it's the gloves. Gloves. I see gloves as being you got your individual digits in the gloves. So go ahead.
I have
take it away.
Nice pair of winter gloves, and they do not come anywhere near to protecting your fingers as mittens. And On a snow hike one time in the gloves, I put a mitten on one hand and a glove on the other for a test, and I lost my motor skills in my right hand. And I couldn't even feel my fingers, they were so cold. And the other hand with a mitten felt just fine. So in really cold weather, it's really hard to beat mittens. And you need fine motor skills if you have to stop and set up the other two legs of the triad, fire and shelter. You need to have some movement in your fingers, or it's going to be difficult.
Sure.
It's going to be difficult.
Okay, so keeping your digits together like this helps to keep them warm, as opposed to spreading them out and putting one in each.
If you go up further north in the Arctic Circle, you will see some, like the Inuits now have gloves inside of a mitten. So they open up the mitten to do things, and then they shut the mitten over their fingers again.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a glove-mitten combination.
Oh, we got to get some of those.
Yeah, because, you know, a normal day up there, -40, and they're out there hunting caribou. So, yeah.
Yeah, -40.
And the second of the triad is a shelter. And I brought here, this is just a emergency blanket. It's reusable. You can string up, you need cordage, string a cord between two upright trees, and in a pinch you can duct tape this to the cord and bring the sides forward a little bit. And I always carry 4 aluminum stakes with me just to peg them in the ground. They weigh nothing really, aluminum.
Sure.
The key about shelter, there's 5 rules about shelter. The first rule is you want to be off the ground. So I always carry a couple garbage bags, and I fill them with pine needles or leaves or whatever debris is around. And that gets me off the ground. The second rule is the shelter has to be set up to protect you from the environment. So you bring the sides forward a little bit, keeps the side winds off you. You have it slanted into the wind behind you, and when you peg it down, you make sure there's no openings in the back of it, so wind or air can come through.
Okay.
And it's slanted forward to protect you from the top if there's any precipitation. And then it has to enhance a fire. So I always put a fire about 2 feet in front, and with this shelter here and a fire 2 feet in front with a rock grotto behind it, the fire's licking the rocks. The inside of this will go up between 30 and 40 degrees.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it's open. It's an open, yes. And the rocks aren't reflecting heat, they're absorbing heat and re-emitting it as infrared. So even if you have a strong crosswind, that heat is hitting you at the speed of light. So it's a wonderful life-saving ability. Just carrying all of this right here is 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
2 pounds. A flashlight, of course, you're going to need at night to help set everything up. And you need a knife. And this is fire, a lighter and some excess toilet paper for tinder, and you can get a fire started.
You're good to go.
Quickly.
And it's in a plastic Ziploc bag, so it's not going to get wet, so you're good to go. That's good stuff right there.
Tip on lighter is always have 2 and carry one in your pocket. Because if it's really cold, butane lighters start to, their ability decreases in the cold. But if you keep one in your pocket, then it's fine.
There's something you taught me one of the times you've been here. You know, I've picked up a few things from you. But you said if you've got 2, you have 1.
Yeah.
If you have 1, you have none.
Yes.
And I've told that to a lot of people. So if you've got 2 lighters, you always have 2 lighters. But if you lose 1, you still have 1.
Yeah.
But if you only go out with 1 and you lose that 1, you've got none. So.
Or you could do something as possible as it's damp out, and you drop the lighter in the wet.
Oh.
And our snow here is wet.
Sure.
If we have snow at all, it's a wet snow.
It's heavy and it's wet, yeah.
If you drop that lighter in water, it will not work for an hour.
Yeah.
You get water inside of it, it will not light for 1 hour.
You may need that hour.
You don't have that
luxury.
That luxury is a good way to put it.
Let's take another break. Verde Search and Rescue volunteer Al Cornell is in studio today. We're talking just about some simple winter safety tips that you should keep in mind. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Today is the beginning of a bright new future for this country.
Live a life on my knees.
The voters are coming.
I am the savior. We are the savior.
When you are in space, you can't run down to the store to buy parts. You have to improvise with what you have on your mission. Making is when there is something new that was not in existence at the beginning of the day. Okay. It's an incredible sense of accomplishment when you have made something. That's why I make. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a few minutes left of the program. Al's got a few more things for us. We want to talk about cell phones and using those too much, but you've got this device right here.
Mention that another form of shelter are these 5x7 tarps. They don't weigh very much and they're not expensive. And I carry a little, like a $2 Mylar sheet on the inside. It's emergency wrapping for somebody that's cold. Mm-hmm. And I've done this demo a number of times for my unit. I set up the tarp on a ridge line, just a parachute cord between two trees, and tie it on there. I can tie it on with parachute cord, and then I take the Mylar, open it up, and I duct tape it on the inside. It takes about 5 minutes to duct tape it on the inside, and now I have literally a reflector oven. If I have a fire in front of it, it literally cooked me like a biscuit almost. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And you said prior to the show that your pack weighs about 6 pounds. So I mean that's next to nothing.
That's my hiking pack.
That's your hiking pack.
And that's,
so that's 6 pounds.
This bag of stuff. This is the shelter and fire and a small flashlight.
3 legs of survival.
2 pounds.
2 pounds.
2 pounds. That's
2
it.
2 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, and all 3 legs of survival are in here. 2 pounds.
Yeah. Then have
so
some
there's no
water
excuse.
with you. You're
Weight's
good to go.
not an excuse.
A little bit of water with you, some snacks.
Yeah.
And you're good to go to stay the night, and you're going to be in a better mental state out there.
The least needed are the snacks. You'll live a long time without eating. You will not live a long time without water, and you'll live a very short time if it's really cold and you're not prepared. Mm-hmm. But another thing important that we haven't mentioned, that's communication.
Okay.
It's nice to have a cell phone with you or something you can communicate. I also carry a whistle and a mirror in case I'm trapped and I have to flash the mirror at an aircraft or something. But that cell phone is very important, and it should be with you for communication. We have a problem with people using their cell phones for navigation, and then they get out there and then they're dead. The batteries are dead. Mm-hmm. A number of our rescues are with people on cell phones who we subsequently cannot talk to because their batteries went dead. And so we just kind of hope they haven't moved. The first call they make and finally gets to dispatch and to a deputy, the deputy tells them, please do not move. Don't move. And then the deputy tries to communicate with them every half hour, an hour, telling the lost person our progress. Got teams formed, they're heading your way, they should be to you in an hour or 45 minutes and that kind of thing. But many a search we have not been able to talk to the deputy, or our base has not been able to talk to the subject because of the dead cell phone. And sometimes we on the team need to talk to them. We're getting close, but we don't find them. We'll call them on their cell phone and say, all right, we're nearby. Do you hear our whistles? Do you hear us yelling? And usually the answer is yes, I can hear you yelling. And then we start orienting. So that communication between us and them is important also.
We have to be done. Al Cornell, thank you so much for coming in.
Okay.
All right, that's today's countywide Verde Search and Rescue volunteer, Al Cornell. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.